Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with Ralph Iantosca of Iantosca Travel, it's an affiliate of Travel Experts. And we're going to talk to Ralph about what he's done during the COVID crisis and how he's sort of changed a few things about the way he goes about his business that may be helpful to some of you out in the market today because it is a unique solution. And he's been there quite some, he's been about 30 years of experience being a travel advisor, and he's a very successful one. In fact, he was just named a part of the Condé Nast Traveler list of top travel advisors, specifically for his work being a specialist in Rwanda. So we want to recognize that. But this is a little different, and we're going to talk a little bit about the solution that Ralph came up with, and it may apply to some of you out in the market today. And you'll learn all about that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, first of all, Ralph, how are you and where are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm in the DFW area outside of Dallas, and I'm doing very well, thank you. Summer's kind of kicking in now. It's 97 today, and it's just the first week in June, and I wasn't really prepared, but it's okay.
and you have to shelter inside too. I guess you can go outside in Dallas too, but
yeah, no, we can go outside. We've got great trails and walkways and bike paths and things around, so it's really quite nice.
No, that's good. I gotta go walk around a little bit. We all sit in here and do Zoom calls all day long. It's crazy. Now let's talk a little bit about how you got into the travel agency business and how you grew into it.
Well, in 1990, I was in travel school, and then I worked for a small little airline, Horizon Air, which is now a big airline, part of Alaska Air. And then I started in 1993 at AAA Travel in my little hometown of Great Falls, Montana. Being an old-fashioned travel agent, I was taught, the old way. This was before commission cuts and so forth, a couple of years before. After AAA, I went to American Express, and I worked for a few years at American Express, and then I decided to become an independent consultant with American Express. And then I left and I became an independent consultant on my own, and then I opened my own agency for years. I was part of Virtuoso as an owner of an agency for years, and then in 2017, I closed the agency, Go Girl Travel, and decided I just want to do what I love. And I love adventure travel, expeditions, safaris, trekking gorillas. I mean, I just love wildlife and I love nature. I love active travel. I do a lot of trips with B&R every year. And I just really like custom tailored experiences. I'm not really kind of a scripted kind of a guy. I like to go off the radar here a little.
Well, you said, and you were recognized for it, obviously, by Condé Nast. And then I understand you did join another host agency, Travel Experts, who we've actually had an interview with a couple of weeks ago. It's one of the original host agencies, and it is a Virtuoso member. And so then you joined them, and now as an independent contractor, you've built up a pretty good book of business, I think, almost like $4 million in sales, which is excellent. But now, of course, we've hit the crisis. And I'm sure you've been busy. What have you been doing, and how did that affect your business?
Well, I think everybody was affected pretty much the same way. I mean, the first thing you realize is that you're handing everything back. You're I explained it to a customer that didn't really understand our model or our business. And I said, it's basically like your boss came up to you and saying, I know you've worked for the last 2 years and we've paid you, but give me all your paychecks back. And now I expect you to work for the next year for nothing. I mean, that's pretty much in a nutshell what I think all of us have gone through, which was pretty traumatic. I mean, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I mean, I feel very blessed and lucky. I had about 60% of my business cancel. Some of it wasn't on me. It was the suppliers canceling. And one thing that I learned is you can't change the rules halfway through the game, And so I've always had fees and cancellation fees. So I feel blessed that those clients that chose to cancel, I was able to enforce my fee, but those that didn't choose to cancel, I couldn't. So commission recalls were pretty big with the airlines. I sell a lot of first and business class air for my safari business. A lot of the suppliers, like I kept a naughty and nice list, actually, who played well and who didn't.
Well, yeah, you can share that with us later. We'll get it up. We'll put it up on ITR.
Well, I hope every travel agent kept a naughty and nice list. I hope they did, and who was helpful and whatever. But then also, we were rebooking, moved a lot of business to 2021. I was blessed to have that. But one thing that really upset me was like with the cruise industry, I mean, we put our financial destiny in their hands and we couldn't really do much about it. And they're struggling so hard doing the best they can. And I sell a lot of expedition travel, Galapagos, Antarctica, and so forth, a lot of Silversea expeditions, a lot of Lindblad. So that really hurt me there. I really like the credits that they put out and put in place. I thought that was really great. I commend Regent for paying us, Silversea for paying us. I think Silversea has been like the star performer in this entire crisis, and I commend Mark Conroy and all of his staff and everybody for.
Well, they have a brand new ship. They just launched.
The Origin.
The Silver Origin. They had a big press event earlier today, and they're ready to go. And August 22nd,
yeah,
be back in the Galapagos.
Fingers crossed. We've got a lot of passengers still booked on it that haven't canceled, and we were hoping that things go forward. But we did a lot of preliminary work. Calling clients, rebooking clients. Everybody wants the answers, including us, including you. We don't have them. We're just doing the best we can do at the time. And I think one thing that I really take pride in doing in what I've done is like where a lot of travel agents are taking seminars and Zooms on suppliers, I took the time to figure out everybody's cancellation policies. And I really studied like where the most flexible policies are. And I think we still have a long ways to go. Who's going to be left standing? Who's going to be in business? Who's not going to be in business? What travel insurance policies are changing? Everybody's changed the game every few minutes with supplier cancellation fees and so forth. So to keep up with that was really important for me and my clientele. So I studied a lot of that, and I take pride in understanding like who's the most flexible, who's the easiest, who's not, who's willing to play, who's not. And I think today giving that advice to a client, they're really worried about, well, should I book? What am I going to lose? There's a lot of anxiety. So I think it's really important to stay current on all those things.
No, absolutely. But what we're really here to talk about, though, is that you came up with another solution in how you reacted to this in a little bit different way. And you actually sat down and sort of separated your customer base into sort of customer A, customer B, customer C types. And you classified them in these different categories. Talk a little bit about that and why you did that.
Well, I think as a small business owner, it's always been important to understand who your best customers are and who your worst customers are and where you spend all your time and what you dedicate your time to. So I've always had my finger on that pulse. And that actually is not me that came up with that. That's Helen Nodland that came up with that.
Oh, yes, I know Helen from Virtuoso. Yes, right.
Yeah. So years and years ago, she taught us that. And I've always just kept my finger on that pulse. And I really love being able to look at my business and see where all my money comes from and all my headaches come from. And when I took a look at the big picture going forward, James, it's like, our world has really changed, right? So us sitting on the front lines, having to work and do all this work, now we have more work to do. And it's touch and go, right? So our financial models crashed and burned for many of us that were expecting to be paid when the trip departed. Now you're not being paid. Some suppliers are releasing money, but there's still major cash flow issues in everybody's business. I don't care what agency it is, And so everybody's got these cash flow issues. And, I started thinking about like the touch and go, so how am I supposed to make this work now? We're supposed to leave in 2 weeks, but now we can't. The airline was supposed to travel, but now it's not operating. The cruise line was supposed to go, but now it's been canceled. And on and on and on. And, we've got to have something consistent. So that was one part of it. The second part of it was my happiness factor and who I love and who I support. And I realized like, when you go to redo your business and you need something that's sustainable, you also should think about being happy and loving what you do. And I love what I get to do all day, every day, and mostly who I get to do it for. And I started thinking about us on the front lines and all those demanding, difficult clients. And I've always joked around with little code words, like I made up a word for a client, we call her Demanda. And we have another client that we call Dramatica, right? And everybody has Dramatica and Demanda and they're sisters and they all want to book with you and they're all fabulous and they'll let you know, right? I mean, out here on the front lines, you get beat up a lot. So I started thinking about me being happy and I started thinking about, all we do is make our customers happy all day. we need to be happy too. Here's your break. Here's your chance. So I designed this based on happiness. I want a consistent financial model that is not dependent upon commissions. I've always charged for my time. I've always charged cancellation fees. I've been very good at that. I've been consistent about it. And I want a model that has nothing to do with commission. And so I started interviewing and poking and prodding, and I came up with a formula that really works.
Yeah, well, you came up with what you're calling a subscription list and a cost for subscriptions, especially for those better clients, A and B clients. Tell us a little how this works and why you're using the word subscription rather than retainer or access fee or something like that.
That's a great question. Well, first of all, access fee doesn't sound good to me. I think today, having access to somebody, and paying for that access to somebody for what I choose to do and what I choose to book didn't make sense to me. It sounded like a turnoff. It sounded negative. It gives a perception of very arrogant. It doesn't sound like somebody who's just passionate about their business. And I'm just somebody who's passionate about guerrilla trekking and setting up safaris and going to Antarctica and Galapagos. Like, I'm passionate about doing all these things. I love it. So access fee and passion didn't go together. Yeah. Retainer says I'm retaining you and then I'm done with you. That didn't work for me either. I wanted something that was similar to a retainer or an access fee or a membership, right? So subscription sounds like, I'm going to choose you. This is my choice. I'm the client. I'm going to choose you. I'm not, you're, and the other thing that I chose to do was I did it by invitation. So not everyone is going to be invited to be my client. And there's two reasons for that. One, I can't take everybody with the amount of work that is involved. And that's what kind of drove this. And the second part is I don't want to. I only want to work with my fans that I'm a fan of theirs. I don't want it. It's just very, very simple. If I'm a fan of yours and you're a fan of mine, we're good to go.
No, that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a luxury in that. So we sell luxury travel all day, every day. Well, where's my luxury? My luxury is getting to hand pick who I want to work for now and then stay with me. And for the next 20 years, now I have this great relationship. And I think about all the benefits of this too. There's a lot of benefits to having a very limited number of clients and how much time you can invest, what you can offer them, how you can work with them. It's really quite nice. I mean, so we have Wanderlist, and I'm a Wanderlist specialist that, Matthew Upchurch has been touting. I was one of the first people to go through, and I love planning far out. So now, we have that. We have a lot of other things too, with supplier benefits and so forth. So there's a lot to look forward to having a limited number of clients. And the numbers really work well. I mean, I can basically make this model work in any market. So let's say I was in a little Midwest town where no one charged fees, and the girls that worked in the local travel agency would just die if they had to charge a fee. Well, the girl down the street isn't going to do it, so why should I? And they're threatened and stuck, And there's been some ups and downs with this too. I mean, I had to test this model, and I had to realize not everybody's going to be with me. Some of the people who I adore are going to say no, and that's okay.
Well, how did you come up with the formula for the subscription cost, and roughly how much is it? It may vary, but how did you come up with that formula and that you could present to someone that you wanted to be on the list, and they would say, yeah, sure, that sounds good, and you went ahead?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I decided how many weeks I'd work a year and base it upon that, right? So we have 52 weeks, and I thought, well, 40 sounds like a good number. Give or take Christmas, New Year's, Virtuoso week, travel week, fam trips, and so forth. So 40 weeks sounded good, and then 30 hours a week sounded good too. So if I took 40 weeks times 30 hours a week, it gave me 1,200 billable hours. So at my hourly rate times 1,200 is going to give me a nice income for the year. And then I could turn around and divide and figure out how much each client's going to take. Some clients want 40 hours, some clients want 6. I also struggled with a few of my clients on Regent 7 Seas. They love Regent. They're no work. We have to go back and they struggled understanding why I now want to charge them. And when you have a 35-day sailing with a big suite and 2 couples join them, that's pretty good commission that comes in. Now
Sure.
You want to charge me for something I've never paid for. So I had to go back and really look at those things too and be a little flexible here because this is new to me. I hadn't done it before. And I realized You know, 3 hours, you know, at my hourly fee, $750 for the year is fine. But most of my clients are about 14 hours, 3,500 average. Some are 20 hours, I charge 5,000. Some are 10 hours and 2,500. So in order to calculate that, what I did is I looked at their history of what I've been doing for them and kind of gauged how many hours it would take to do the trip. And then I looked forward and I added a little bit to it about what our new world's going to look like. And that's how I came up. And then if we go over that, then I have a little discounted hourly rate, so they can still keep going with me, and it's going to be still billable, but discounted. So if I have to manage credits, I'm going to be paid for it now. If I have to manage refunds, I'm going to be paid for it now. And for me, eliminating the idea of a commission was a lot of stress off of me, because the clients always feel like you're doing this for your commission. You're not really doing this for me. You know, our industry is always set up that way. And the agents always are frustrated. Well, gosh, they didn't buy the biggest trip, so now I'm not going to make as much or whatever. I mean, it's frustrating, you know, on all sides, all sides. The commission model has always been something that's just been hard. And I never accepted this model. I just walked into this model. It was already going in 1993 when I sat on the front lines. So we all did. I don't know who invented this model and how it was, but it doesn't work for me now. So now I want something that's consistently consistent. So I figured, you know, 1,200 billable hours at a certain dollar amount per hour. Now, my hourly rate is a little bit different than others, but it can work. So, you know, it gives you a consistent platform for the year that has nothing to do with a refund, cancellation, nothing.
Yeah, well, you're beginning to sound like a little bit of a lawyer. Billable hours, you know, that's
my lawyer trained me for a couple of days on this. My lawyer sat me down and we went through a lot of scenarios, and I was explaining to her all the unhappiness of like these things. So let me ask you this, James, if we have to call the hotel and have a meeting with the general manager and he has to go over his COVID and his social distancing processes with us, how does he assign the rooms? How does he check you in? Is the spa open? Is the restaurant open? Is the gym open? How many people go in the elevator? Where's the closest hospital? What's his COVID plan if something should happen? I mean, think about all those things now we do that have nothing to do with the commission.
Yeah, yeah. So so you're going to be getting these subscription fees and or billable hours if you want. But and now what happens to your commission that you'll get?
I still am going to get. I've made it very clear that I'm still going to earn a commission.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to charge a cancellation fee. And my commission should have nothing to do with what I'm charging you for. So I'm charging you for my time to work for you, client, and that has nothing to do with me earning a commission.
Yeah. Now, as you said, though, you are somewhat flexible with this system, and depending on the trip and the reception that you get from your customers, right?
Well, most of my work is custom tailored. You know, a lot of safaris. You know, a lot of multiple destination trips. A lot of active adventure. We've got guides and rafting and trekking, and we've got all these wonderful walking trips and so forth. But if it's something like, you know, my clients that are a little older, seniors in their 80s, and they just want that Regent cruise and they like to go for a month, that's different. But again, flexibility is crucial. And today, I think one size fits one, and that's the only thing you can say. I think one size fits all doesn't work for anyone today.
No, I would agree. And believe me, I've been writing about this since the 90s when we first proposed that, you know, travel advisors or then travel agents charge a transaction fee and then charge a consulting fee. So there were two different kinds. There was a guy named Bob Jocelyn, who you may have run into. He's been a consultant to AAA and to Virtuoso, and he has been a firm advocate of fees for years. But a lot of travel advisors couldn't get over the hump, and some of them still can't.
Let me ask you, I think we should put this question to the industry for those that do not charge fees. And comes from my heart to them. How does it feel now?
Yeah, well, it is. It's very different. And the question I had for you, why do you think they haven't adopted this model or one like it in the past?
I think there's a lot of reasons. I think confidence. I think they need to understand their worth. You know, there's a lot of people that have just always worked and they've never sat and thought about their worth. What is it that you do? What is it that you really do? Why are you worth this? You know, it's not transactional to me. All that knowledge and education and all those years of investing in FAMs and travel, I mean, like somebody like me who's been over 85 countries in 30 years, I mean, come on, I can go off the top of my head, but somebody who's new struggles with that. They've never been in that. And then, a lot of our industry veterans who've been in this since the 70s and so forth, they didn't have these then. And, you came to the travel agent because they didn't have the internet. They found you the best deal. And, it's all those theories of evolution. I mean, not theories of evolution, but all these years of evolution. So you have to change. If you don't change, you're going to die. You have to change.
Yeah, we're at a turning point. Everybody says use this time to reflect, and obviously you have on the model that you do in terms of your compensation. So obviously this is a time when you can make a clean break and go with something different, right?
Well, and I'm also doing a couple different things too that I want everyone to know about too. So I'm taking my commission with deposit. And there's some suppliers like Gwen over at Exeter. Her and I had a conversation a couple months ago, and she said she'd gladly change her terms and conditions to accommodate us. And now she just announced to the industry that you can have your commission with deposit. Carol at Greaves just started doing that, and for India and Sri Lanka, that's fabulous. So look, these suppliers need to work with us too. For years, the model was that you worked for the supplier, but yet we brought the client to the supplier. So without our clients, suppliers wouldn't have a business, and they've always competed with us, took direct bookings. There's a lot of that, and it was intimidating. So when you think about these travel agents who, want to charge a fee, there's a lot of reasons why they don't want to because of the direct bookings and all these things. But now, I'm charging commission with deposit, making my commission non-refundable, and I expose that to my client and I let them know. And then also, I have always had a cancellation fee of 15% of the total trip cost. So let's say you're on a Regent or a Viking or a AMA or something that's scheduled, a top, whatever it is. They have their policies and I have mine. And, I argued with a client, black and white. It was very, very fair. And they didn't want to pay me my cancellation fee. And I had to say to them, and I would like every travel agent to make note of this. My client said, I don't want to pay you that fee. And I argued and I said, tell me why I shouldn't be paid. Tell me why I need to work for free. You don't work for free, so why should I? You answer that question, please. Whether you want to pay me or not, I want an answer to that question. And I think every travel agent needs to ask their clients that too. And most clients didn't understand and they felt terrible and they want to pay you. Well, God, I had no idea. And the reason that is, James, is because no one knows how we work. Our industry is the absolute worst at exposing ourselves. Here we work for some of the wealthiest people in the country and in the world, and all these super elite wealthy people, and we can't tell them we're going to get $2,000, but yet they make a transaction for $30 million. I mean, what is this? Everybody knows how every business works. When you walk into the grocery store, you know how it works. When you walk into any restaurant, you know how it works. The waiter took the check, you left them the tip, and off you go. You went to the hair salon, you put the money in her hair, and off you went. In her hand, and off you went. Everybody knows how everybody makes money. Why are we afraid of that? Why is this industry so afraid to expose how we're paid? That frustrates me. So I just think it's a time to come clean and run your business and don't be afraid of a no, because I'll tell you something, you're more valued now than ever as a travel agent.
No, absolutely. And this may be a time when we can, there's been several big breaks in this industry over the past few years, as we all know, whether it was airline commission cuts and then final elimination, or whether it was 9/11 or recessions, and now we've hit perhaps the most critical crisis this industry has ever faced, and that's a different situation.
I want to talk about one more subject since I have the privilege of being with you today. I want to talk about rebating. I think that's something that is controversial, turns the whole industry upside down. And I want to know if those that rebate now, they couldn't see their own value, so they had to rebate, right? So they couldn't figure out where their value was. Their value was through rebating. So what does that do today? And what about those clients that only bought from you because you rebate? Where is your value? Who are you now? And who's going to use you now if you choose not to rebate? What's going to happen to all those clients? So, I don't rebate. I don't believe in rebating. I think it's diluting our industry. We work hard enough. And for someone to sit out there and rebate undercuts all of us that work very, very hard and do charge fees. But there's a lot of people that will never believe in what I'm saying today. They don't believe in me charging fees. They don't believe in us charging for our time. They only understand price. And so I hope that those people listen to this message today and stop and take a good look at themselves and learn to charge fees and do not rebate, and can help us go forward.
Well, I hope so too. And I know some suppliers have been active in trying to prevent rebating, some to more success than others, because it does affect their pricing as well. But
in a way, though, if you rebated and now you're stuck managing all these clients, can you imagine how it sounds? Probably sounds like 300 barking dogs all in one room, listening to them complain. You've not been paid. You gave up your commission. Now you're expected to work for free again. Like, it's just the worst. I hope they can change their ways.
Well, I do as well. Now, and lastly, I just want to ask you, I mean, how do you think this crisis is going to just change the whole model that we currently have? I know you're an independent contractor affiliated with, the
Travel experts.
And there are a lot, I've gone through this industry, 20, 25 years ago. If you were an independent contractor or a home-based agent, they kind of looked at you strangely. That there wasn't, Travel Experts has been around that long, but now predominantly the model is a host agency and independent contractor model. Do you think that this crisis is going to affect that model positively or negatively?
I think it's going to be positive. I think that those big agency owners that had a staff and paid salaries like I used to, and, employees cost a lot of money. You have to pay federal taxes on them, payroll taxes, unemployment insurance. Just this one thing alone, like the unemployment insurance, for example. Think about what that's going to do. How many employees did you have to claim on unemployment insurance, and your rates are going to skyrocket now? It's going to cost you a fortune. I think becoming an independent contractor is a viable option. I think those on the front lines that were always afraid of being on commission, that they weren't going to make a living, that, they weren't, if a trip canceled, how could I go for 6 or 10 months without a commission check? Those are all legitimate things of why they don't want to be on commission, why they don't want to be independent contractors. But today, you have resources and tools to be able to learn how to charge for your time, where you can have a model that has nothing to do with the commission, and you can be an independent contractor. And the benefits are fabulous. The benefits are fabulous for the owners, because the owners will still be able to recoup on their back end, which is where they make most of their money. Like my model, for example, I love my model. I have a keep 100% commission plan. So I keep 100% commission across the board. And my favorite thing about my host agency has been the politics. I joined this agency. I was very involved in Virtuoso, and I joined this agency because there's no politics. They have every relationship on every level for every kind of travel agent, and they leave you alone to do as you wish. It's your business. You run it how you want. Here's all the tools. So there's things out there where travel agents might not understand that they're being paid a salary plus a bonus, and now they're going to lose their jobs, but they love what they do and they've served these clients. Step out there, learn, get educated, understand, talk to your agency owner if you are somebody who's salaried and furloughed or reduced hours, and ask them what it would take. And I bet working together, you could find a really nice agreement, maybe a split of commission if you don't want to pay a monthly maintenance fee. Like a lot of travel agents might not want to pay every month. They would rather have a split because, finances and things, but there's options. And I think all agency owners should look at making their travel agents independent today. I think the loyalty would be deeper. I think the earning potential for the agency would be bigger on all fronts. And everybody deserves to be happy, and especially agency owners, where travel agents don't really understand what an owner goes through. Most travel agents don't know all the behind the scenes worry, stress, headache that it takes for training, for, payroll, cash flow, taxes. And our industry is so upside down that, and I know most travel agents love their boss. They love their owners. So stay loyal to your owner. He or she has built this gorgeous world for you to work in. Work it out with them and find a new way, and everybody be happy.
No, that's great. Well, Ralph, thank you for spending some time with us to talk about the new compensation model that you've devised with the subscription and subscription fees, as well as your thoughts on some of the other things going on in the business that we have an opportunity to look at again and possibly and hopefully change to make sure that people understand the value of a travel advisor. I've been taking it to saying that it takes a crisis every time for people to realize the value of a great travel advisor. I wish it didn't, but it seems to be, here we are in one of the biggest crises, if not the biggest, and people are once again.
But there's opportunity. Yeah, there's opportunity. And if those out there watch this video and they want some help, or they're looking for to use my model, I do have assistants where I can help them implement it for a fee. I'm charging for my time. I charge everybody for my time, whether you're a client buying a trip. But if you want some help, I would love to help you. So they can have my information.
Okay, great. Ralph, again, great to catch up with you on this. It's a wonderful and interesting model, and good luck with that, and good luck in selling the things that you love to the people that you love as well. I think that's the dream job, right?
Thanks, James.
Keep that going.
All right, thank you.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.